Love coming up to Birmingham. We've always been coming to Birmingham for years, like from Gatecrasher, from when it was the Works. Always been up here. So yeah, when it was Liquid and what was it called, Oceana. Love these spots up here, man.
So what do you like about Birmingham?
I think the people really know how to party. I think the energy here, yeah, really love it. Yeah, I think the parties are some of the best parties I've ever done.
Okay. So everybody in Brum, you know, gas up yourself a little bit. Tim Westwood said it's the best city. What I want to do is for everybody here today that's wondering how to get started in music and how to find their passion and how to kind of get going with things. I want to know from you. I mean, how long have you been doing radio for now?
I've been doing radio all my life. I started out as a pirate DJ on a station called LWR, and then there was a group of us which got together and formed Kiss FM, which then went on to get a license. And while I was with Kiss FM as a pirate, I joined Capital FM, and I was with them for like 5, 6 years, 7 years. And then I joined Radio 1, and I was with them for a whole heap of time, like 19 years. And then after that, when I left Radio 1 and 1Extra, I joined Capital Extra, which was the old Choice FM. So I joined Choice FM, then it rebranded as Capital Extra.
Okay.
So I've been doing radio all my life. Yeah, I've always done radio, always done the clubs, always been a DJ, never really done anything else.
How did you get into DJing in the first place? Like, what was it that said to you, this is what I want to do?
When I was a kid growing up, I used to work in clubs collecting glasses. So, you know, like just that pot boy, you'd be collecting up the glasses. And I worked in a club called Gossips, and they used to have David Rodigan up there on a Saturday night doing a reggae night. And they used to have a, like an R&B DJ called Steve Walsh, may he rest in peace, on a Friday. And from there I just got a passion for the music, loved the music. And from there I got an opportunity to become like the warm-up DJ for Rodigan. So I worked with him for years and Steve Walsh. And then from there I started doing my own clubs. And then from there I got on pirate radio and just really, you know, kept it moving from early.
Was it hip hop that you started out playing, or was it other stuff?
It was like in those early days. I mean, reggae was reggae, and it was in the era of like Yellow Man and that sort of early dancehall, the early DJ, and hip hop was just starting out in those days. So luckily, because I was in a position to see it, I just, you know, found it's my passion, and yeah.
What was the first hip hop record that made you think, like, you know, I need to play this?
I think the craziest record in those days was Rapper's Delight. That was like the first hip hop record of all time, and like everyone played that. But then after that, the whole thing with electro funk and all that early hip hop came out, and then it was about Run DMC, LL Cool J, then Public Enemy, and then from there it just got crazy. NWA, all the West Coast scene, and Dre, then Biggie and Tupac. And then all that New York scene. So yeah, I've been there for every step of the way, every era of hip hop, and yeah, played every record.
Have you ever been like before, you know, when you were in the clubs, do you ever do mixtapes? Were you ever like a mixtape DJ in that era?
Mean, we used to do mixtapes in those days when it was mixtapes, and we used to do a lot of live sessions, so you'd like record the sets and stuff like that. But I think, you know, now it's all about SoundCloud, and yeah, we always done. I mean, we just finished off a new mixtape late last night. Skepta's asked us to do a new mixtape for him for his American tour, which starts next week. So we did Summer Shutdown for Skepta, and we just finished that late last night. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, sounds sick. You kind of glossed over a lot of big names there. You know, Jay-Z, Biggie, Tupac. Did you manage to interview Tupac?
No, but I met him up in Harlem once, but like he never came to the UK, he came to Paris, but I saw him in New York, yeah. I mean, that guy had crazy charisma, crazy energy around him, and he's definitely, you know, perhaps the greatest of all time. Yeah.
I mean, who's your, interview-wise, I know you've interviewed a lot of people, but have you got like a favourite interview or something that you felt like you were worried about going to do that interview maybe?
Nah, I mean, honestly, I've been there for, you know, so many different eras of hip hop. Like, yo, I might have loved that Wu-Tang interview, but then I, you know, did spend time with Notorious B.I.G. and then after that I did that Nas interview, which I thought was crazy, and then that Jay-Z interview, and then bringing it more up to date, did that, you know, Drake interview, did that Nicki Minaj interview. So it was just like, you know, you get a new favourite every time you do one. And like a lot of the interviews we do now, like we was over in Croatia, hip hop festival, and that stuff with like Danny Brown and Joey Badass, that was just, you know, good fun stuff. So there's nothing like it's a defining moment. It's just like keep it moving.
Okay.
At all times.
I want to take it to the crowd now. Does anybody have a question for Westwood?
You know, I've been like credited for like bringing US hip hop to the mainstream in Britain, but no one's really seemed to have done that in America. No one's brought British hip hop over there, but in other genres they have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I honestly don't think they care. I don't think they care. I mean, hip hop in the States is very regional. So, you know, there's been different eras of like New York dominating and the West Coast dominating, and now down south is definitely dominating hip hop. And I think they just buy into hot records. I don't think they really care. But I think there's a real opportunity now that a lot of Americans are falling in love with grime. And that's, I think in the States at the moment it's very trendy. But if you see like Drake co-signing Skepta, and before that Kanye West co-signed him, and then before that A$AP Rocky co-signed him, and you know, yeah, there's a lot of artists out there like Stormzy, which are like resonating in the States, and Skepta's just about to start his tour in the States. So I think now, for the first time, people are paying attention. But I think previous to that, nobody cared. And there's been people, like, it's easier to do it now, whereas before you'd have to literally shut down your career in the UK and go live over in the States to try and connect with them because of the internet, and people will share your music and so on and so forth. It's much easier to get it out there. So I think now is an opportunity that people will pay attention. But what I think will happen, there'll just be one or two artists who rise to the top. If you think like in reggae music, there's like, it was just really Sean Paul who crossed over. In Afro beats, you know what I mean? There's, there's just like one or two artists who cross over. It's not the movement.
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I've been out and you've played a lot of Afro beats and you've killed it. Have you ever dropped them in America?
Afro beats is crazy big in the States. There's areas like Atlanta where there's a massive Nigerian, Ghanaian population. So Afro beats is definitely big over there. In Miami, there's areas there. But like, I've been going to like Nigeria and Ghana a lot recently. So like this year I've been to like Ghana like 4 or 5 times, Nigeria 4 or 5 times. And I think the movement there is intense, man. And I think Afrobeats in Birmingham, especially when the students are here, it really rings off. But when it's more of a local crowd, it seems much more Jamaican. Yeah, and quite often in Birmingham, if there's a local crowd, they don't want to hear Afrobeats.
Go ahead.
Obviously, you've worked with a wide variety of artists from like decades. But have you ever had anyone on your show that loads someone rap and thought like who was on the verge of blowing up and thought, yeah, this guy's going to be huge?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, one of the things that we are most focused on is like the freestyles, and our YouTube channel, Tim Westwood TV, is really, you know, designated to. We put all the interviews up there, and we put the parties up there, and all that sort of stuff. But I think our core thing about that is the freestyles. And you know, we've had a lot of artists come through and spit their bars, and you can really see like they're incredible artists. Now, whether they can translate that into records and making hits and becoming like a movement is something different. But if you think through those freestyles, like Chipmunk really came through that, you know. So, and Skepta's got a freestyle up there with 4.5 million. That, you know, that stuff really rings off.
What was it that made you start taking notice of grime music? And because I know it's for a while that maybe it wasn't really incorporated into your show early on, and then
I mean, the thing with grime, man, it was just undeniable in the clubs. You know, records like Pow and people like Dizzy Rascal, undeniable. I mean, I think there came a stage where it kind of went from like people like Soul Solid, you know, really brought it into like more of the rap world. You know what I mean? I mean, not taking anything away from grime, but it was something you could understand and relate to far more than what was out there before. So I really, grime is definitely, powerful music, man.
Okay. And having seen a lot of people come through your platform, like the radio show and the freestyles, etc., what is it that you can see in an artist early on that you think that person's got star power from, like, you know, a room full of?
I mean, I think it's just like, you know what they're saying, how they're saying it, all that sort of regular stuff. You know what I mean? You can just tell if it's working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah. I was wondering if, because you're at that stage of your career now, you can kind of sit back and see what's going on.
I don't really feel that, you know. No, I don't really feel I'm on that stage trying to just chill. I'll be working friggin' hard, mate. Seriously, I think I think in this era you have to work harder than you ever had to. Like there's so much to do, and yeah, you really got to keep it moving. So I think I work pretty hard, man. I work pretty hard, and I'm blessed. There was a time when I didn't work hard, but not out of choice. Like, and I used to look like I was very connected to American DJs like Flex, and I used to see how hard they work. And I used to think, oh my days, if I could only, you know, if I could have those opportunities to work that hard. So when it came that I could like get my grind on, I never like complained about it. So, but like, yeah, I think now, you know, you like, successful artists work hard, there's no question about it. There's absolutely no question. You might not be hearing about Drake, but he's in tour in Australia. Do you see what I mean? Those guys are out there working. And like, if you get that opportunity, you've really got to max out, man. You've really got to. And so, yeah, I've worked hard for a long time, man, and I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Would you look for artists, or is there like a way that artists can email you their stuff?
Yeah, I mean, would love to hear your music. I think what's important to understand is that, like, I'm not a record company and I'm not an artist management. So I mean, I'm a DJ, so I like playing hot records. So I'm not really part of that process of, you know, I would never want to sign an artist, manage an artist. I'd never want to, I wouldn't see my role as that. But if you've got a hot record, I'd love to support it. But it would have to be hot. So someone like Gigs, no offense, but someone like Gigs, I like, you know, I was definitely there for Gigs, 100%, but he was like real hot on the street. He was like, in South London, especially Peckham, he was just crazy. You couldn't move apart from Gigs. So I had that opportunity to support him and play his records on the radio, and more people got to love, you know, love what he was about and promote him like that. But I wasn't in that role of trying to do anything else but support hot records, because that's what I do, man. You know what I mean? I'm a DJ, so I want to play the hot shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yep.
And your favourite grime artist from
I, to be honest, I wouldn't want to call that, because then I'd just be pissing off other people. Do you know what I'm saying? No offense. No offense. No, to be honest, I don't really. I mean, I love Skepta. You know, from London, obviously, but I love Skepta, but I don't be calling one next to another. I just like, I love J Hus, but I don't be like saying I like them and I don't like them, because I think that I'd just be getting myself in a jam. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Have you ever had any political situations where you...
I don't get involved in that, man. Yeah. That's not my business, man. That's not my money. Say it. These guys here from back in the day, man. Like
Moorish,
yeah, man.
Maliki,
like MD7, they came through years ago. Like we've had a lot of old school cats, new school cats, and they're always welcome. I mean, I really like Triller. I ain't gonna front. Yeah. I think Triller could have been like, perhaps. I think he could have been as big as Skepta, to be honest. And I'm sad that it didn't happen for him. I think that was the sadness, and I think he could still make it. But I think Triller, whether it was bassline or grime, he was really a grime artist. But Triller was crazy. Yeah, I think Triller, till this day, his records were not.
You mentioned working hard and how hard you work, and that you work really hard right now. And
yeah, I mean, that's just an opportunity, man.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an opportunity to earn money, man. Let's get that money. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? Please. Please. Do you know what I mean? Let's get that paper, and you know, so you should.
And you mentioned Funkmaster Flex, and obviously he's a very well-respected DJ in America. Did you ever, because I know you became part of the Big Dog Pitbulls and that kind of stuff, did you ever need to kind of earn your respect from anybody when you were coming into the game?
When I first started going to America, there was this I used to arrive in America, and I would have been awake all night, and I'd be in this club. Just to be quite honest with you, it was called The Tunnel. I'd be in there drinking Long Island iced teas, getting drunk, smoking weed, and Flex used to look at me like I was a frigging clown. Yeah. So I had no respect when I first went there. And then I started to get my stuff together, and then I brought Flex over to the UK, and we did parties together, and you could see the movement over here. And that's how we got the tie-in, man. And then we used to do radio shows together. So yeah, I mean, it is important that, you know, this is like a serious business you're committing yourself to. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, give it your best shot. Don't, you know, give it your best shot for sure.
So, you know, you built the relationship.
Yeah.
How important would you say, in terms of success, and especially in the music industry, building relationships and networking is for artists?
I mean, I think it is important, but Flex was more like an inspiration for me, because I regarded him, and still do, just like perhaps the greatest hip-hop DJ of all time. So his work ethic and what he's achieved. He's the guy who made like Hot 97, a hip-hop station, made the first hip-hop station here before it was like a Spanish station, turned it into a hip-hop station. He brought the car game into hip-hop, and you know, to me, he just, you know, represented hip-hop, so I had so much love for him. But I think now, yeah, I think relationships are important. I mean, people can help you, so why, you know, you need to get caught up in all the politics of everything, man. People can help you, so let them help you. But I think a lot of this day and age, you've got so much opportunity to go out there and do what you've got to do. I mean, I just think now there's so many opportunities out there to get your music out there, to get you out there as an artist. I think you've really got to seize those moments, man. There wasn't those opportunities before, there are now. So, you know, if you want to be an artist, you've got to just go and be an artist, you know, put your music out there. And it's not about money in those early days. Money comes after you've got success. Before that, you should just give your music away. You shouldn't try and sell it at this stage. Just give it away, get it out there. You know, do those hot mixtapes. You know, put it out on SoundCloud, do your YouTube videos, and they're easy enough to do. You know, there's enough resourceful people around you to help you, people at college and stuff. So you should just go out there, work hard, get your music out there, and concentrate on being the artist that you want to be, because this is your moment that you can be who you want to be. Do you know what I mean? And you know, you don't have, you know, this isn't the era of, you know, like in those old days, you know, sure, 50 Cent was a, like, you know, a drug dealer and a gangster. You know, Drake's an actor, and he's the biggest artist in the world, you know what I mean? And so on, you know what I mean? You don't have to, you know, Rick Ross was a prison officer, and now he's the biggest gangster rapper, and he's the best gangster rapper out there, you know what I mean? So just, you know, be the artist you want to be, man. This is your time that you can be. So you should really find that your style and your vibe and what you represent. And I think, you know, how it works is, like, you've got to make those hit records, but after you've got hit records, and there's a lot of hit records out there, you've got to develop into a movement like Drake or Nicki Minaj, like, or Wayne or whoever, that people want to buy into and be part of, and be that brand and be that lifestyle. So, you know, and when you're young and coming up, you can find your voice, because you can try, you're not under the pressures of everything, man. You just do you. So I would really, if you are serious about being an artist, now is your moment to try and do it, man. And nothing can hold you back, nothing. Because you're, you know, with all being online and everything, the world, you know, the world is out there for you.
In the age of YouTube and, you know...
Oh, and I also think records which ring off in the club are the most powerful records. Like, I think, you know, the reason, like this mixtape we've done with Skepta, there's only like a couple of records on there which ring off in the club, but it's records like Shut Down, It's Not Me, are the ones which get Skepta to that audience. And people like Jay Huss, who've got the biggest records in the clubs, they, you know, I believe you need, I mean, I'm a club DJ, but I believe you need to be in the clubs, you know, to really ring off, man. That's where you get out. And then also a lot of DJs who are club DJs are also on the records, are also on the radio, so they'll play your records on the radio if you're hot in the clubs. So I really think clubs are very important, making the right club music.
For this generation, especially with YouTube, etc., like you talk about online and building your online kind of platform, how important is radio from you as a radio DJ?
I think radio is less and less important than ever before. Like when I first started out, it was like, you know, people would grow up listening to you, could only hear the music through you, could only hear the artists through you, you'd have the world premieres. All those days are just gone now. Artists speak directly to their, you know, their fan base. They don't need a radio show to that. But people like Drake, Nicki Minaj, they don't do interviews no more. Yeah, so you do, like the role of radio is so changed. At best, it's just like a soundtrack to people's lives. On a Saturday night, they might want to listen to me. But people want music when they want it. They don't want it on at Saturday night, 9 o'clock. You know, they want to go to a SoundCloud link or a download link or go to YouTube and listen to it when they want to listen to it. So radio has fundamentally changed, I think, for young people, and it's less and less important. So I think, you know, and that's much easier for you guys because you don't have to rely. Like Skepta's never been played on Radio 1. Skepta first time round is getting played on Radio 1. First time ever in his career. You know, he doesn't need it. He really doesn't need it. Yeah. Yeah, he really doesn't need it. Yeah.
I was going to say any more questions, but you got a question?
Obviously, you've been in the UK pop scene since the day.
Sorry, brother.
You were on the UK pop scene in the days when you were doing things like the B-boy documents, even back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Trying to promote like the first jams. Is there anything that you miss from going all the way back to comparison to now, perhaps?
No, I just kept it moving, my brother. I just kept it moving, man. I know DJs who didn't even run there. They got, you know, their things, that old school thing. I did that Nas concert up in Birmingham the other day. It nearly killed me playing 90s hip hop. I couldn't remember any of that shit. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I played it in Scotland, they nearly booed me off stage because I couldn't remember the old records to play. I got it right by the time I got to Birmingham, obviously. But like, yeah, I just keep it. I think hip hop is the most creative form of music. And I mean, if the old school hip hop is your thing, I fully respect that. And at that Nas concert, which was 20 years of Illmatic, there was like, you know, people 19 then that, you know, weren't even born when this album came out. And they loved the old school hip hop, and that was their thing, you know, the golden era, you know, of hip hop, and I respect that. But on the real, I think hip hop is so creative, man. Like, you know, I love what Drake's doing. I love what's coming out of the Dirty South. I love what Grime's doing. So I've always just kept it moving, and that's why, you know, we can still rip down parties and people still support us, and, you know, we still do our thing with the students, you know what I mean? If we kept it old school, we wouldn't be able to do that, man.
From a brand standpoint, and you as Tim Westwood, the brand and what you do you think evolving that in terms of the music you play and kind of staying relevant with other things, you think that's been really important for the longevity that you have now?
I would be over, family. I would be over now if I kept it old school. Who'd care? I mean, jeez.
Go on, yeah.
You know, just I always paid attention. Like, I love hip hop. I love the creativity of it, man. There's always new era, new artists, and that's what I've always embraced, man. It's easy, man. It's easy to see hip hop records coming at you.
Okay. Yeah, yourself.
Okay, so you say that you support, you know, UK talent, like if someone was to give you a record, you play if it was up. But would you support like other DJs trying to come up as well?
Set who?
Do you support DJs trying to come up as well? Like,
Support. I mean, like, I think how I came up. Let me tell you the honest truth. Right. So I was working at Gossips, collecting glasses. And they said, and their Friday night with Steve Walsh was empty, and they said, if I can get 50 people in this club, they'll let me DJ. So, printed up my flyers, handed them out to all my friends. I'm from West London, got a whole Ladbroke Grove come down and partied with us. And that's how I started my DJ career. So, I always hand out flyers to this day. Like, I've got stuff with me to hand out to you guys now. I've got my party in Birmingham on Friday, the bank holiday weekend in August. I'm upset I didn't have flyers printed in time, but I'll be handing them out up here on Saturday when I'm playing at Electric. So if you want, you know, it's about that do-it-yourself ethic. So if you want to be a DJ, you know, make mixtapes and SoundCloud and give them out. You know, go to a local club that you can get and promote there. That's how I started, and I think that's what you still have to do. There aren't people who are going to give you a break in life. You know, everyone's out there for self. So you really got to do your own thing, and it is that do-it-yourself ethic. And the same applies for artists, but in a different way. But for DJing, it really, I believe that. Find a local spot that you can get, do your party there, get your name out there, promote it with your mixtapes. It's that. It really is. That's my advice. Get on radio, and there's so much radio opportunity from pirate to internet.
Guy at the back with the King's hat.
Quick question, what is your opinion on R&B music in the English culture?
R&B music from the UK.
Yeah, what's your opinion?
I think it has trouble competing with American R&B. I think it has trouble competing with it, but it doesn't mean it's not winning.
I don't mean like in America, in England, like how like there's not a lot with the R&B culture in this country right now.
Yeah, I think the Americans, when it comes to R&B, are pretty much years ahead. I mean, it was like that with hip hop, but I think, you know, the likes of the grime artists now are definitely, you know, creating UK movement that people love and buy into, people like Lethal Bizzle. But I'm not really seeing that with the R&B cats, unless it's kind of like a bit more left field and a bit more, you know, a bit more adult. You know, we seem to be doing that okay, that sort of neo soul. But like, you know, I'm not seeing a Trey Songz. I mean, we've got Angel, but I'm not seeing Trey Songz and Angel. The toughest audience. Those people in Scotland was pretty mad at me, to be honest, because I was playing Flick of the Wrist and Coco, and they wanted 90s hip hop. To be honest, I just misjudged that. I didn't really think about it before I got there, unfortunately. But like, I don't know. I think, you know, sometimes I go to these summer resorts, and no offense, but it's full of like young white kids who don't really know hip hop, and sometimes that's a little hard for me. You know what I mean? But that's their loss. You know, they want EDM and house music because that's what they've heard on the radio. Because they haven't really come through yet. You know, find their own music.
Yeah, you want to go again?
Going back to Illmatic, obviously one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time.
No doubt.
Do you think that there is a Grime album that's come out?
I think Boy in the Corner was definitive, but then nothing really came after that. But I think there are great albums out there, but I think Boy in the Corner. I think the problem with Dizzy Rascal was that he had the hits and then he would just chill, and I think that was a bad sort of template as a work ethic. It's only later on when you got people like Lethal Bizzle who's setting up their own businesses, doing that t-shirt game and exploiting that. People like Jamie on his Twitter and Skepta with all the music and mixtapes he's put out. I think it's that era now, and you know, gigs came up very much through the mixtapes. I think, you know, that's when, you know, the UK started to have a better work ethic. But if you look at people before that, like Getz and stuff, you know, what were they doing in these gaps? You know what I mean? They'd have a hit record and you would not hear from them again. I mean, it worked for Dizzy because he was a crossover artist.
Why do you think there hasn't been, I've thought about this before, why do you think there hasn't been another kind of seminal piece of music like Boy in the Corner?
I think it's all to come, man.
You think so?
It's all to come, yeah. I don't know. I think, you know, Dizzy was truly great, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there has been great albums out there. I just can't think of any right now.
So you mentioned Lethal B with the businesses.
I love Bizzle, yeah. Bizzle's crazy.
And the fact that a lot of other people
and
are
he's
doing
earned the money. He's just like big arse house.
And a lot of money. I know you yourself, you've done things like, you know, Pimp My Ride, you've done a lot of different things. Yeah. How important do you think it is to an artist nowadays to diversify what they're doing and go out there? And I
think the core is music, man. Just getting your music right. And after that, you can start doing everything else. But if your music isn't right, you know. Yeah. I mean, if you look at Drake, his thing is just music. You know, you might get all the co-signs and all the sponsorships and everything, but his thing is music. The music you define yourself with, I believe.
So personally, you've done a lot, you've worked very hard. I want to know, being so successful, how do you go ahead and switch off when you're not doing music? Like, what do you do? I've wondered this, what does Tim Westwood do when he's not DJing and he's on radio?
Like, music is my life, man. That's all I do, so it's not like, no, I'm just happy to keep it moving with the music, man. I spend a lot of time in clubs if I'm not DJing, hang out a lot. Spend a lot of time, just doing music, man. That's what we tend to do, to be honest. There's nothing else really going on.
So we're almost running out of time, so I want to know, is there anybody out there that's got any more questions for Tim? Anybody want to ask anything that hasn't asked one already? So
how do we reach out to you? Like,
take my email, and that's my personal email. It's timwestwood@timwestwood.com. That comes through to my phone, my laptop and everything. So if you want to send music, that's no problem at all. And if you mention we met here, that'd be much easier as well. But timwestwood@timwestwood.com, my name.com.
Got it back.
Nice to hear from you, man. Otherwise, come up. You know, I'm always in Birmingham. I'm here this Saturday doing a party with Chris Goff, and I've got my own parties. I could just come to a party, man.
Who's your favourite English rapper?
I don't know. I love Gigs. I love Skepta. I love Bizzle. I think J Hus is definitely crazy right now. But you know, that's not taking away from anyone else. But I think Skepta's definitely, it's his moment. So we'll see what happens, man.
Okay, so I've got a
we got some more. Oh,
sorry, go on.
Oh, before everyone goes, yo, I got my bag through there. I got some CDs for everyone, so make sure you don't run away. So I'll give you a CD. You know my bag? Yeah, if you grab my bag, it's I think it's like a multicolored bag, to be honest. It's the Gola bag. Yeah.
We'll wait.
Your favourite Grime clash?
Say again.
Favorite Grime clash?
Those things are so friggin' old. Those clashes. Artists don't clash no more. But we had a good one with I think it was Getz and Temper on the radio. But the artists, they kind of stopped clashing years ago. But you know, those old school clashes. I know Kano. You know that one on the stairway down at Jammers. Yeah. But like. Those things are kind of like, they kind of went a long time ago, sadly. I mean, I thought that was crazy, but now everyone's got, I think, too precious about reputation.
Fun question over?
Hey, I keep wondering, you keep noticing, mentioning, what's his name, Jay Hutch.
Yeah.
What brought you towards him? Like, what made you gravitate towards him?
Yeah, like, because it was honestly coming to Birmingham and doing politics with the students, people were just crying out to hear Jay Huss. And then I threw his record in the club and he was just game over. It was crazy. And so, like, as a club DJ, I could just see the power of this guy. So I brought him up to Birmingham to some other dances. I think he's crazy. You know, I think his music is, people love his music, man, and rightfully so.
That's the thing though, if you genuinely like it yourself, like, are you still out here checking for like who's hot? Or like?
Yeah, but I see my role really of reflecting what is hot. I'm not like a shortcut to make you hot. Like I wasn't like, a lot of cats come to me and say like, yo, blow me up and get me a deal. And that's just like, especially when it was like, when we were on the radio in those old days, it's like, that's just, that I'm not that shortcut for you, brother. I'm not that shortcut. You've got to be, it's not what I do. It's like, you be hot out there and let me reflect that heat. Let me promote that heat that you have. Let me stand next to your heat and play it on the radio. Not like, you know, take the little record and make you something that you're not. Do you know what I mean? You can look the part, dress the part, and pretend you're the part, but you've got to come out. You've got to have the hot record. So with gigs, I didn't make gigs hot. Gigs was hot on the street, like you've never seen before, and it was just easy to start promoting his records in the clubs, promoting his records, and then everyone just gravitated towards gigs. It's as simple as that, man. It's not my role as like A&R development to break you, but you know, if you've got a big record, that's the goal of back here, baby. If you want to hand those CDs out, please, we really appreciate it.
All right, so I've got a final question. How long has your career been so far?
Since day, baby, since day.
Since day.
I'm 101 right now, so I've been doing it for a long time.
To young people and, you know, anybody that's, you know, starting out or have a career right now, what's your advice for having such a long, you know, the longevity in the game? How do you go about doing that, and what's your best advice for doing that?
First thing is to get into the game.
Yeah.
And like what it was when I started, right, there was no friggin' opportunities. There was no radio stations you get on. You couldn't be it was so hard. So there was no opportunity, and to be a DJ was so expensive with records. So I'm from an era of no opportunities. But when you had your opportunity, when you came through that door, there was just no competition. So I come from an era of no competition. There was like 2 other rap DJs on the radio, and that was it for me for years, for like 10 years. And it was easy to win against them.
Yeah.
It was easy to win against them. They really weren't paying attention. So that was mine. But now, there's so much opportunity for you guys. There's just so much opportunity. You can get on radio, you can make records, you can go out there. But what the problem is now, because there's so much opportunity, you've got so much competition. So it's so hard to get established, it's so hard to get known. So if I was a DJ now, I don't think I could have, I can't see, it's very hard for DJs to get that repetition. I see some guys out there who are getting it through their SoundCloud, getting enormous numbers on their SoundCloud, and they're building like that. But it's very hard. So you've really got to cut through. So now is the time, you've got to work hard, and create great records, man. It's all down to the music. If you ain't got the music, as much as you want this, it's not going to happen for you, man. It'll be a con.
Amen.
So you've got to make that great music, man. So you should focus on the artistic side of things, and it's not about the money. That comes when you've got the success. So you've got to be patient for that.
The definition of good music?
Records that people want, brother. No, it's as simple as that. Like, I ain't taking anything. You might have a record that you and your boys think that is the best record in the world, and you might be drinking brandy and smoking weed, loving your record. And I've listened to whack records and got to like them. But at the end of the day, this isn't like pop radio. You know, pop radio, you hear some whack records on the radio so many freaking times you start singing them. Like, it's not about that when it comes to this hip-hop game. You've got to make records which resonate with people, that people can feel in their heart and they want. Or records some dumb stuff that people can dance to and have dance moves to. Just, you know, like Lean and Bop by J Hus isn't a great record, but it's a fun record that people want to hear in the club. And there's enough American records like that which ring on. So it is about making records which, you know, that people want to buy into. And the best way to start is with the people around you, your crew, and then in your neighborhood. That's what Giggs did. Like his crew of SN1, and then it went from that into Peckham, and then it went to South London, and then it was undeniable. It was undeniable. And that's what you've got to do. And same with J Hus, he connected with that student crowd. And once that student crowd bought into him, and especially the students in Birmingham, UCB and University of Birmingham and Aston, all those, once they bought into it, it's the biggest thing in the clubs for me up here. So it is as simple as that, man.
Hot records are mostly negative.
Say again?
The records that are mostly hot records, I would see them most of as negative.
Sorry, say that all again, but I can't hear.
So you say hot records get produced, yeah?
Yeah, you know, you've got to make great records. It's all about, like, Drake is making music which people can just really relate to and love, and it means something to. Fetty Rap, you know what I mean? All those artists are making records that people just love, and that's the big records, man. And that's if you want to cross over, Skepta's Shut Down, people love that record. You've got to make records that people love, man. That's what the game is, I believe.
I'm going to go for one final question.
Do you agree with me, or do you see it differently?
Well, what it is yeah, like,
One of it was like, it's negative.
The negative portrayals that they're doing and the movie that they're making.
What do you mean negative? What negative portrayal?
It's not positive, isn't it?
What isn't positive? A second?
I think it's like the music that they record. The music that they're making.
Like the lyrics, the content of the music isn't like the most positive music.
That's what makes
what isn't. I mean, I think Drake is making positive music. He's talking about people.
Yeah, all the artists done positive and negative music, but the most hotness comes from the negative.
I wouldn't say that, because who's the hottest artist now? Drake, Chris Brown. He's not making negative, but they're like. But then I'm just going to be. Look, seriously. I really respect if you disagree, and I really respect if you disagree. And there's definitely arguments to disagree, but you know, life isn't that easy for everybody. And he's talking about hardships and people's struggles in life. And like, there are gangs and there are drugs and whatever, and with the lack of opportunity and everything. And if the music is reflecting that, why can't it reflect that? Because that's a lot of people's reality. So it might be telling a story, but we're not getting mad at these movies or these video games, which are just as crazy. Do you know what I mean? I don't think we should put our artists under such scrutiny that they only have to make like church music. I think that these artists have a right to say what's going on. So Rick Ross might be talking about all drug dealing and stuff like that, but he's just telling a story that a lot of people want to listen to and buy into, and so be it. Why not? You know, it's their choice if they love that music. Do you see what I mean? A lot of early grime was all like bang you in the head stuff, you know what I mean? No offense, but like pow. It's just like some super friggin' violent record. But in the clubs, it just rings off. But why can't people have that as music they want to just go crazy to in the club? Do you know what I mean? I don't think we should have to put our artists, we shouldn't say Lethal Bizzle, you should only make positive stuff, because life isn't positive for a lot of people. There's people out there having a hard time. People are broke, people can't get money, people haven't got opportunity. Why can't records reflect that? Do you know what I mean? Some of it is glamorizing, but so are the movies, so is everything else in life, you know what I mean? And a lot of Puffy stuff was never attainable for anybody. He'd be rhyming about watches and chains and cars that nobody would be able to afford. Do you know what I mean? So, music does not have to be, music is just reflecting life, man. It just reflects life, in my opinion. Now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but I don't think anybody in this room is going to hear a Rick Ross record and go and start selling drugs because they heard the record. You know, drug dealers might like those records, but I don't think a record, if you listen to a record, it's going to make you go out and commit crime, and if it does, you've got other problems going on in your life. So don't turn on the TV, don't go to the movies, and don't watch video games.
That's where the problem is with today's society.
I don't think you can blame the friggin' music, my brother. I think you can blame people being broke and not having opportunities is the problem, in my humble opinion.
Bro, you know what?
That's my opinion, though.
Let's wrap that one up, though. Please.
I feel like people have always put black artists under so much pressure for that. And I think that is so unfair. They don't do that to country and western artists, they don't do this to other genres. Why do our urban artists have to be faced with these sort of criticisms?
What it is, yeah, I was going to ask you, just to separate it a bit, just in my head. You do the radio DJ, yeah?
Yeah.
So, you produce records that are hot.
I play records, yeah.
Hot, and you like it.
Yeah, well, no, which are big records.
Like, now that you've gone this far ahead in your life, yeah, you've got to this stage, would you ever kind of change it now? So, like I'm saying about the records that people listen to, you published pop record.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a DJ in the clubs, man. I just want to rip those clubs down. I want people to come and have the best party of their lives. I want the radio shows to be the hottest I can. They're the records I play. And honestly, I'm not going to start, no offense, I'm not going to start playing whack records just because they work in church. Do you know what I mean? I'm just being real with you on that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do me.
Is your question the
And I think you as DJ should do you as well.
I think it just goes down to your crowd. And my question was just how do you select your crowd? Because sometimes you can be diverse in what you listen to. Like I listen to a lot of influences, what I make as a producer, but sometimes I like rock music. How do you choose your crowd? Like in terms of how do you select it? Being a DJ as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I think the crowd which follow me come for hip hop, bashment, Afro beats, R&B, done, bit of grime. That's it. That's what they come for. That's what they're going to get. And these Birmingham parties are crazy. End of story. And that's who I am. I'm not trying to be anything else but that. You know, I haven't got a lot of ambition, man. That's just me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be some general dude who does everything. I ain't interested in that at all, man. Never was, never will be. This is the music I love. This is the music I want to support. These are the artists that I love. And boom, end of story, man.
Okay, Tim, thank you. Thanks a lot. Can we get the applause, Tim?
Did everyone get a CD? Yeah. Thanks. Hope you like it, baby. You might hate it, but I think it's a good record. You might hate it, brother. But let me know on Tim Westwood, hit him up. And also check out youtube.com/Tim Westwood TV, man. We've got like all the hot stuff on there, man.
Everybody, thank you.
Oh, nice to see you. Oh yeah, so I can understand this part.
You got to be your own person.
Thanks, nice to
meet you. Can only be you.
That's all I am, baby. That's all I am, man.
Your people.
Yeah, nice to see you. I'll come down. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming out, man.
Can you take a picture?
My pleasure.
You're tall, man.